Good day viewers, welcome to episode number 109 of Erongo Talk, brought to you all the way from the SeaSide Hotel and Spa in Swakopmund. I'm Otis, your host at the coast. Today we celebrate World Statistics Day, and as usual on a Tuesday we bring you the news, Grumpy's fishing report, the weather as well as the tides. We also feature an interview with communications manager Gernot De Klerk, who tells all about the upcoming 2020 Nedbank Desert Dash. Remember, our loyal viewers, you can win your share of accommodation vouchers for the upcoming Namibian Tourism Expo being given away by Namibia Media Holdings. All you need to do is answer the pop-up question during our show. Vouchers are redeemable at any accommodation stand at the expo from the 4th until the 7th of November. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a moment. Dit is Dinsdag en op Dinsdag doen ons dinge in Afrikaans want dit is Erongo dag. In vandag se nuussegment, die gemeenskap van Arandis sal baat by die skenking van 'n vragmotor ter waarde van R330.000 aan 'n plaaslike entrepreneur. Die Erongo Streeksraad se maatskaplike ontwikkelingsfonds het die vragmotor aan mevrou Ellie Novases, die eienaar van Ellie's Flower and Vegetable Garden op die dorp geskenk. Die skenking is daarop gemik om Novases se lewensstandaard en in die toekoms die sosio-ekonomiese omstandighede van die gemeenskap te verbeter. Novases sê die Kia vragmotor gaan dit soveel makliker maak om haar produkte te vervoer, haar besigheid uit te brei en sodoende meer werksgeleenthede te skep. Voor die skenking het sy 'n krywa gebruik om haar groente en blomme uit die tuin na die supermarkte te neem. Sy het haar tuin in 2007 by haar huis begin en later op grond van Arandis grond op Arandis bekom waar sy nou haar groente en blomme kweek. Die streeksraad het 'n strategie in plek om ekonomiese ontwikkeling te koördineer in lyn met die 5de nasionale ontwikkelingsplan en finansiering is beskikbaar vir werkskepingsprojekte soos Novases se tuin. En nou beweeg ons bietjie na Swakopmund waar skerp kritiek besig is om meneer George Olivier en sy liefdadigheidsorganisasie 'n Better Life Project wat hy vroeër vanjaar met die beste bedoelings gestig het, dit nie halter. Een van die kritici wat verkies om anoniem te bly, beweer op haar persoonlike sosiale media blad dat sy na Olivier uitgereik het om hulp vir haar bejaarde ouma. Volgens haar het Olivier na hy skenkings ontvang het juis vir die doel na bewering geweier om dit aan haar te oorhandig. Olivier sê hy het die skenkings weerhou omdat 'n maatskaplike werker hom ingelig het dat die bejaarde vrou mishandel word. Nog 'n persoon wie se paie met Olivier gekruis het, beweer dat hy geld aan 'n Better Life projek geskenk wat geskenk is vir homself gebruik om dinge soos dwelms te koop. Volgens hierdie persoon is Olivier in verskeie hofsaake glo betrokke, insluitende die van aanranding en die besit van onwettige middels. Olivier se reaksie op hierdie bewering is dat diegene vir mense wat gereeld in daardie plekke rondhang gerus kan gaan vra wanneer laas hulle hom daar gewaar het om die waarheid te hoor. Hy maak ook geen geheim van sy vorige stryd met dwelms nie en is van mening dat die aantuigings teen hom is weens sy reputasie wat uit sy verlede spruit. En nou gaan ons 'n bietjie in Walvisbaai draai gaan gooi. Daar gaan waarskynlik niks kom van 'n multimiljoen-dollar beleggingsprojek wat onlangs munisipale goedkeuring ontvang het nie. Volgens 'n betroubare bron is die projek van 'n sekere meneer Gui Wei Wang wat Primeline Investments besit, nou al meer as 3 jaar in die pipeline. Dit het 3 jaar geneem om die hersoneringsproses goed te keur en teen die tyd wat dit uiteindelik gedoen is, het die kliënte alle belangstelling verloor. Die kliënte se plaaslike verteenwoordiger sal nou moet uitvind of hy nog met die ontwikkeling wil voortgaan. Die bron het gesê, dit is 'n treurenswaardig en hartseer om te sien dat iets wat veronderstel was om tussen 3 en 8 maande vir goedkeuring en voorlegging aan die Namibia Beplanningsadviesraad, NAMPAP, te duur, uiteindelik 3 jaar geneem het om af te handel. Volgens aanduidings het dit die dorpsbeplanningsafdeling blykbaar 2 jaar geneem om hul verslag af te handel. Gaan kyk gerus op ons webwerf www.erongo.com.na na die munisipaliteit se verduideliking. And now for some harbour news. The transport industry is traditionally perceived to be male-dominated, with only a few female professionals present mostly in lower decision-making and administration positions. To have improved gender equity, it is imperative to transform the transport industry by increasing the representation of women in all areas of the sector. Chantal Burger, who is the Windhoek branch manager at Worker Freight Services, has been in the logistics sector for over 20 years and says she has been frowned upon when showing up as the main coordinator of a shipment. And then, according to the president of the Truckers Association of South Africa, Mary Fadi, there are not enough opportunities for women in the transport sector. She attributes this to several gaps that need to be closed in order for women to dominate in the industry. These gaps, amongst others, are unclear procurement processes, communication regarding tender opportunities, lack of engagement between women in freight, shortage of technical skills required to perform in the male-dominated industry, skills transfer, a low representation of women in the industry, and the lack of encouragement from joint ventures between men and women. So, despite the challenges highlighted, COVID-19 has presented an opportunity for women to bridge these gaps by creating virtual platforms where women can engage their male counterparts, share best practices and other relevant information. Yes, and that concludes our news segment for today.
So joining us today is Gernot De Klerk, the Communications Manager for Nedbank Namibia. Hi Gernot, how are you?
Irene, very well. Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.
That's no problem at all. So Gernot, the Desert Dash is taking place as always. So could you give us a little bit of background on the Desert Dash?
Well, it started as a really small challenge way back in the day. It's probably gone just under 2 decades, and it was really a challenge amongst friends, each telling the other that it's impossible. I'm imagining that you're able to cycle through the Namib Desert from Windhoek to Swakopmund non-stop, and there it started. It happened, I think initially a bunch of about 40 cyclists, and here we are today, and we're welcoming 1,000 cyclists to the Desert Dash.
This year, 1,000 cyclists.
Well, we've been able to consistently grow the numbers since Nedbank Namibia became involved about 5 years ago. We were probably sitting at that 700-800 mark, but this year again, like last year and the year prior to that, we'll have over 1,000 cyclists.
Okay, lovely. So how is this year's Desert Dash going to be different from previous years?
I think there were always going to be challenges with COVID-19, and at some point we were quite concerned that the international travel restrictions may make it quite difficult to get a large contingent of call it foreign cyclists, but cyclists certainly from outside our country's borders to come here. But lo and behold, we have about 35% of this year's entrants will be citizens from other countries. I think about 290, just under 300 South Africans, for instance, and about 20 odd from Germany and the UK. But I think particularly interesting for us this year is that we'll have cyclists from Botswana, from Malawi, from Angola, and it's really great that the African continent, as an awakening cycling giant really globally, will be sending riders to Namibia to participate in what's become, I think, our country country's most iconic cycling event.
Yes, of course. So in these 1,000 faces from all over the world, are there going to be any well-known cyclists, well-known persons taking part?
Yeah, the Nedbank Desert Dash always does throw a surprise or two our way, but from the entries that we've seen, it was tallied up just about a week ago, with the final rider details being submitted for final calculation and making sure that we enter their details. We know that the defending Swiss champion Desert Dash, multiple Nedbank Desert Dash champion Connie Loso will be here. He had quite a titanic struggle last year. It was a beautiful ride to witness with South Africa's Dusty Day, and Dusty is also coming out. So in the solo category, at least we have about 20 female cyclists, if memory serves me right, and then within a field of about 220 solo riders, so roughly about 10% of them will be female riders. But Connie Losa and Dusty Day undoubtedly will go hammer and tongue at each other once more. And, Drekas could say we can throw his hat into the ring. Yeah. We have a couple of Olympians cycling in the two-person team. So Dan Craven and Alex Miller, we know they'll go to the Tokyo Olympic Games hopefully next year. So Dan is cycling with the reigning African Games champion Tristan de Lange in a two-person team. Alex Miller, who has done brilliantly the past few years, and I mean he's managed to qualify a place for us in the men's elite mountain bike races at the Olympics. So Alex Miller and Bram Vermeulen will go head to head with Dan and Tristan, and I think that will be awesome racing. It's so great to see Dan Craven back at the Nedbank Desert Dash, and we're looking forward to that rivalry, as it were, friendly rivalry, but they're all mighty good friends. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening. But we're working through the lists of entries, but undoubtedly we'll have some excellent racing. But the Nedbank Desert Dash is about more than the podium. It's really challenging yourself to cycle for 373 kilometers throughout the desert, throughout the night, and only yourself underneath starry skies, essentially, and that is the major challenge, and that is the prize I'd suggest.
Yes, and of course, star-studded cycling races were not spared the COVID-19 pandemic. Did the COVID-19 pandemic challenge Nedbank in any way to bring forth the Desert Dash again?
Undoubtedly, I mean, and many of the organisers, Leander Borg, Manny Heymans, Johan Pretorius of Lema events will tell you that the next Desert Dash cycling stages on planning cycle starts immediately when the first one ends. So right at the beginning of the year we got together and had brilliant plans on what we wanted to do, and then COVID-19 happened. But there was never significant doubt from our end that we'll go ahead with the Nedbank Desert Dash. We weren't quite sure what it'll look like ultimately in its final iterations. So yes, there were challenges, and we have probably about 3 scenarios planned in the event that physical distancing regulations at the time of the dash happening on the 11th of December may well put paid to some of our plans. So if one again looks at the Nedbank Desert Dash, it really is a couple of events within the major event. So there's registration happening on the Thursday evening preceding the race day, where you have probably in excess of 2,000 people in a parking area. So that could potentially be something that is flagged. Our commitment to the Minister of Sport, Youth and National Service, Honourable Agnes Chongarera, was that we'll absolutely abide to whatever regulations are in place from a health perspective, and we'll make sure that we do the responsible thing. So we have about 3 scenarios planned in the event that we still have, what shall one call it, restrictions on having large numbers of people congregate at a single point.
Yes. So obviously we are standing at quite an important point in this year's Nedbank Desert Dash. Where will the Desert Dash be starting and where will it be finishing?
We're starting at around 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon, the 11th of December, and the finish point will happen. The first riders get in just as the sun comes up, over the horizon, and right behind us is where it actually finished, at Platzame. It's a beautiful setting, and one couldn't ask for more. And if you speak to everybody who's ever done, or anybody who's ever done the Nedbank Desert Dash, they'll tell you there's a very special feeling as you ride through the beauty, the harsh realities, the sort of stark, haunting beauty of the Dorop National Park, and you see the sun come up, and you end here in a glorious, hopefully, day like this, with beautiful weather, but along one of the most beautiful places you'll find on this earth, and the Atlantic Ocean and the quaint beauty of Swakopmund. So right here at Platsamir is where we'll finish, and hopefully all 1,000 and odd cyclists who start will be able to get here safely. I mean, and that really is the ultimate aim.
Yes. And Gernot, I'm going to expand there on the safety of the cyclist. The rider safety is often portrayed in the media and in our headlines. Do you have any messages to motorists and to the general public on the safety of your riders?
We have to say there's excellent work being done by stakeholders like the Namibian Cycling Federation, and we can only reiterate their efforts and re-emphasize that motorists, particularly on the day of the Nedbank Desert Dash, puts the safety of cycling and cyclists first. Amazing work that we also see from the policing authorities, both in Windhoek and in Swakopmund, to ensure a safe thoroughfare for cyclists. But our plea to motorists is just to please heed, I almost want to say common sense, but that would be derogatory. I'd say just be mindful of the fact that there will be 1,000 cyclists on the day. They will have cycled for the past 24 hours. I mean, they'll have 373 kilometers on their bicycles. Just make sure that you give them right of way and allow them a safe passage through. Ultimately, we do everything we can from an organizational perspective or an organizing perspective to ensure the safety. But if there's one wish from all the organizers, our co-sponsors, wonderful co-sponsors in Nedbank Namibia, is that everybody who starts the Nedbank Desert Dash gets to Swakopmund safely.
Yes, so that was Gernot De Klerk of Nedbank Namibia. Thank you so much for your time, Gernot. And as always, stay wide of the rider.
And now for your fishing report. Indications are that there was a Kop festival at St. Norway. Reports received bear testimony that the Kop were on the bite in this area as well as at the Winston Wreck, says Grumpy. Barnett, Geldenhuis, Robert Brandt and Stockies went camping at St. Norway and quickly got stuck into some hungry Kop after pitching their camp. They landed some great fish with a total of 30 between them for the weekend. The biggest weighing in at 7 kilograms, with the majority of catches being between 4 kilogram and 5 kilogram. A good fishing trip indeed. Flippy Skeepers pulled ashore a 20 kilogram Kop, and Noels Diedrich landed a monster of 24.5 kilograms at mile 108. Some massive fish indeed. Well done to the anglers. Henry and Henko Snyman went fishing in the Winston Wreck area. They also each reeled in their allowed 10 Kop of decent size. Not to be outdone, Popeye, closer to Henties Bay, also produced loads of fish. A little to the northern side, closer to Sarasagat and Grysduintjie, also did not disappoint with some decent galjoen and blacktail caught. The spotted gully sharks were also on the hunt, with some being caught in the 20 kilogram range. Activity at Vierkant Klip around Swakopmund was quieter as the color of the water became super clear. This is not the best condition to catch fish, says Grumpy. The watercolor should be a darkish blue for the fish to feed readily, and the southwester wind usually sorts this problem out. The ski boat anglers reported getting some Kop at mile 6 and mile 14. The snook on the other end are still being elusive. The time is just about right for them to come on the bite now. And that concludes your fishing report for today. And now for your weather and tides. We had a high tide at 23 minutes to 6, with a second high tide due at 7 minutes to 6. The first low tide arrived at 11, with another low tide coming in at 23:57. The sun was out between 6:27 and 6:33 and is expected to set between 7 and 7 for the major towns in the Erongo region. For your predicted temperatures, Walvis Bay, a maximum of 20 with a southwesterly wind of 19 kilometers per hour predicted for today. A minimum of 14 and a maximum of 18 predicted for tomorrow. Swakopmund, a maximum of 18 and a southwestern wind of 15 kilometers per hour predicted for today. A minimum of 13 and a maximum of 17 predicted for tomorrow. Henties Bay, a maximum of 17 and a southern wind of 15 kilometers per hour predicted for today, and a minimum of 13 and a maximum of 18 predicted for tomorrow. Moving to Arandis, a maximum of 27 with a southwestern wind of 11 kilometers per hour predicted for today, a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 25 predicted for tomorrow. Usakos, a maximum of 38, very hot there, with a southeast wind of 13 kilometers per hour predicted for today, and a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 38 predicted for tomorrow. Karibab, a maximum of 37 with a southern wind of 11 kilometers per hour predicted for today, a minimum of 13 and a maximum of 39 predicted for tomorrow. Finally, Omaruru, a maximum of 38 and a southern wind of 13 kilometers per hour predicted for today, and then a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 39 for tomorrow. And that concludes your weather and the tides. Viewers, I hope you've enjoyed the content of today's show. Remember, Erongo Talk is an extension of our website www.erongo.com.na and our Erongo 24/7 Facebook page. You're most welcome to join our family of over 70,000 online followers. Go like and then click on the links on our Facebook page to access any of the stories we talked about in today's show. Also for information about services as well as adverts on our website. If you need to advertise or promote a product or your company, this is your place to be. Yes, send us a WhatsApp at 081 17 0040. I repeat that number, 081 17 0040, and we will get in touch with you. You are also most welcome to drop us clips of what's happening in your community. Protect yourself, stay sanitized, healthy and safe. Please wear those masks and keep your social distancing. Cheerio!